Fellow Ghanaians, good morning. So when the NDC was campaigning for power in 2024, one of its most resonant promises was a very, very bold one. It was Operation Recover or Loot. They called it ORAL. It was a simple but direct and deeply moral message that every single peso that have been stolen from you and I, the people of Ghana, will be recovered, that impunity would end, and that those who turned public office into private enterprise will face the full consequences of their actions. That promise, that single promise, ignited hope. It was a cry of this country tired of watching as corruption walked tall and justice limping behind. 10 months into the Mahama administration, the promise of ORAL is being tested, and it is being tested right at the heart of one of our very important public institutions, the National Service Authority. Fellow Ghanaians, a forensic audit that has been conducted by the Auditor-General has uncovered what can only be described as a grotesque betrayal of public trust. The report reveals that over 120,000 national service personnel were paid allowances for multiple years, in some cases long after their service period had ended. Ghost names, duplicate payments, and fake enrollments have bled the state of millions. Former senior officials of the scheme, including the former Director General, his deputies, and other top management figures, have all now been arraigned and charged with criminal offenses, with the Attorney General indicating this week that with new evidence coming to light, the charge sheet will now be amended and the charges upgraded. But perhaps the most scandalous revelation in all of this rot is that a former Deputy Executive Director of the National Service Scheme, Gifty Owarimensa, was found to have been simultaneously enrolled as a national service person during her tenure as a senior official. She was drawing allowances even while she held an executive position in the same institution, it is alleged. How does one explain such impunity if it is proven? How does one justify a public officer collecting state-level salary and a service allowance at the same time? Was it a scheme designed to inculcate discipline, sacrifice, and patriotism in our youth? Is that what has been turned to what we see now? The audit also found that a former Director General of the scheme, Mr. Osei Benchi, had been posted as a volunteer under the National Service Program, and through that window received more than 8.2 million cedis in payments. In other words, the very people that we entrusted to manage and protect the scheme to ensure that young graduates serve this country with honesty and dedication were themselves feeding fat on the system, turning the national service thing into a national or a personal business. Fellow Ghanaians, if this is proven, this is not just corruption. It is a big moral collapse. When the youth of this country are sent out every year to serve their nation for meager allowances, which are often delayed, often insufficient, and sometimes unpaid for months, the least they can expect is that the managers of the system are people of integrity. But instead, what we find is that while some of these young men and women slept on floors, when they starved to make ends meet and borrow to get to work, others at the top of the scheme that oversee them were quietly building mansions, driving luxurious cars, and signing off on fraudulent payments in the dark of the night. Fellow Ghanaians, the scale of this rot is staggering. Over 2.2 billion cedis has now been implicated in ghost names and fraudulent payments within the National Service Authority scheme. And this is only one institution. If this is what happens in an organization meant to shape the civic character of our young people, what then happens in all those many state agencies and enterprises that manage even bigger sums of money? This, fellow Ghanaians, is precisely why ORAL must succeed. It must not just be a slogan. It must not just be a campaign mantra. It must be a national crusade that outlives every government, including this one, and every Attorney General, including Dr. Dominic Ayine. The idea that public funds can be looted and then life can go on as normal must die, a painful one in this republic. The men and women accused in this scandal must face trial. And if they are found guilty, they must serve long prison terms and refund every single peso that has been stolen, allegedly. This will not be vindictiveness. This will be a classic case of justice. Because, fellow Ghanaians, too often in our country, the poor are made to pay for their mistakes while the powerful negotiate their crimes. The watchman who steals plantain is jailed. The official who steals millions is retired, go to jail, or they feign sickness, then they come back. The ordinary trader who defaults in a micro lane is harassed by the political appointee who plunders public funds, is allowed to relocate abroad. We must end this invasion. We have seen how in the past corruption was treated like some mere administrative infraction. The NLS Good Causes Foundation, set up for the destitute, was turned into a sponsorship fund for award nights and elite events. Contracts were inflated, state land gifts were gifted to cronies, and millions disappeared under the nose of oversight agencies. But something must change now. For once, the Attorney General office is speaking loudly and acting. Files that have gathered dust and have been reopened, warrants are being issued, and accused persons are being charged. The Operation Recover All Loot initiative, which is led from the highest office, is breathing new life into the idea that accountability still matters in this country. Yet, even as we commend the Attorney General for this courage and the determination of President Mohammed's government, we must also confront the uncomfortable truth that every major corruption scandal in Ghana, almost without exception, is exposed only when the governments change. Where were the oversight bodies when all of this was happening? Where were they? Where was YOCO, the Financial Intelligence Center, the Bureau of National Investigations, now National Intelligence Bureau? What were they doing? What such crude, unsophisticated thievery went on? These are agencies that receive millions of cedis annually. They employ hundreds of so-called professionals, and they are mandated to detect, investigate, and prevent economic crimes. Yet time and again, it takes a new government or journalists to expose and uncover what should have been obvious all along. Fellow Ghanaians, we cannot build credible anti-corruption architecture when our watchdogs bark only when commanded. Independence must not only be on paper, it must be in action. YOCO, the OSP, Financial Intelligence Center, we must learn to act proactively. The moment a Director General or a deputy is able to loot 8.2 million undetected for months, something is broken, not just in the system, but in our collective conscience. What is worse is the hypocrisy of it all. Many of these same public officials who loot state resources are the first to lecture the youth on hard work, on discipline and integrity. They mount stages at graduation ceremonies wearing academic gowns and quoting proverbs about honesty, even as they siphon millions behind the scenes. Then they call the poor lazy. Their children who inherit stolen wealth sneer at others and call us unserious. But there's something sacred about honest work. There is dignity in struggling for what you earn. Those who steal from the poor, from the taxpayer, from the collective, are not clever. They are national embarrassment. We must therefore insist as a people that every asset purchased with stolen money be confiscated and returned to the state. We cannot continue this ritual of seize and release where stolen wealth is quietly enjoyed after the noise dies down. Corruption must not pay, and recovery alone is not enough. Punishment must accompany it. Let those who steal public funds serve time, not in air-conditioned hospital wards or in their plush homes under police guard when they claim they are sick, but in real prisons where they will feel even for a fraction of their sentence. The pain they've caused millions of all of us. And yet we must remember, the goal of oral is not revenge, it is restoration. It is to send a message that in this republic, the law will work, no matter your title, your wealth, or your political connections. It is to build a Ghana where public service is once again our honor, not a get-rich-quick scheme. The forensic audit at the National Service Scheme is only a glimpse of a much bigger problem. For every ghost name found there are countless other public agencies doing the same. For every fraudulent allowance, there are procurement frauds, land deals, scholarship abuses, and infiltrated contracts that have robbed this nation of the chance to build better schools, hospitals, and roads. If oral succeeds, if we truly recover what has been looted and hold the guilty accountable, this country will not only regain billions in lost resources, will regain something far more precious. That is faith. Faith that government can be fair, faith that justice can be blind, faith that in this country, even the mighty can fall when they do wrong. Fellow Ghanaians, the work of fighting corruption is not the work of one man or one government. It is the work of all of us. We must demand transparency, we must applaud courage, and refuse to defend wrongdoing when it benefits our side. The same energy with which we condemn opponents' corruption must be applied when it's our own, in our own political parties. Otherwise, we are not patriots. We are hypocrites, just donned party colors. So to the Attorney General, all of us, we are telling you, you must stay the course. The Attorney General office must keep auditing and naming names. And the President must know that we will not allow him to have sacred cows. The people of this country are watching, and they will remember. If oral is to mean something, it must be relentless. It must be more than clearing agents. No more selective justice. No more lip service. The looters of our republic must cough up every cedi and serve their time, so that future generations will learn that corruption is not a career path but a criminal act. Because if we continue to let service become stealing, if we continue to turn a blind eye while the youth's future is mortgaged by the greed of the old, then one day we'll wake up to find out there's nothing left to recover. Not loot, not faith, not even the republic itself. For those of you who are serving government today, if you are looting, perhaps your government will not do anything, so we will not catch you, like those who served in the past. But your government will not be in power forever. Because as we know, our state anti-corruption institutions only go after corrupt politicians when they lose office. So perhaps you feel like you are free, you can steal and steal and steal. But know that a day of accountability will come. Just like your government is holding the MPP administration accountable today on the alleged offenses, even if you're in office for 30 years, you will leave one day and someone will come and hold you accountable. So this is a message to you directly in your offices as you make and sign deals, as you line your pockets, as you buy properties all over the place to hide stolen money. If you are doing that, the day of reckoning will come. Today, it is persons in the NSS, persons, National Buffer Stock Company, Signals Bureau. We are not pronouncing them guilty. These allegations that have been made against them, they will have their day in court. If they are guilty, they will serve time and will have to take back every single penny from them. But if you're in office today, your time will come. Your name will be mentioned, and every single person you also stole from the state will be recovered. I'll see you same time tomorrow. Hello, Ghanaians. Good morning.